Let's say the quiet part out loud. They're over you, not angry, not dramatic, not even especially emotional, just done. They went another direction. They restructured. They made a difficult business decision. Your role was eliminated, or you were told it wasn't working out. And suddenly, the place where you spent years of your energy, your intelligence, your loyalty, no longer wants you there. If this just happened to you, I want to say this clearly, before anything else. There is nothing wrong with you for how disorienting this feels. Even if you were prepared, even if you suspected it, even if you hated the job. Being professionally dismissed hits something deep, because work isn't just what we do. It's how we orient ourselves in the world. And when that's pulled out from under you, your system reacts before your logic ever has a chance. So if you're thinking, why am I not handling this better? You are. This is what handling it looks like. One of the most damaging things people are told after losing a job is, don't take it personally. That sounds reasonable, but it's also incomplete. Because while many exits are structural, layoffs, downsizing, RIFs, mergers, the impact is personal. Your income changed. Your routine disappeared. Your status shifted. Your sense of forward motion paused. That's personal. And even when the exit was with cause, it doesn't mean the full story of your value was captured in that decision. Companies do not make decisions in a vacuum of fairness. They make them based on power, timing, risk tolerance, leadership changes, narratives that are convenient now. Performance reviews are not court verdicts. They are documents created inside imperfect systems by imperfect people. So if you are replaying every meeting, every email, every moment where you think, if only I'd done this differently, pause for a bit. That urges your brain trying to regain control, not uncover the truth. Here's what most people don't tell you. Losing your job is not just an emotional event. It's a nervous system event. Your body reads sudden professional loss as a threat to survival. Even if you have savings, even if you're highly employable, even if you intellectually know you'll be okay. Your system doesn't respond to logic first. It responds to loss of safety. That's why you might feel foggy, jumpy, numb, unusually tearful, unable to concentrate, or compulsively explaining what happened. That doesn't mean you're spiraling. It means your system is trying to restabilize. And here's the critical mistake people make at this stage. They try to outwork the shock. They update the resume immediately. They start networking aggressively. They apply to everything. They explain their exit to too many people too soon. What they're really saying is, please make this stop feeling so scary and painful. But speed does not equal healing, and urgency often recreates the same misalignment that burned you in the first place. Your first job after being let go is not reinvention, it's stabilization. For the next few minutes, I want to give you permission to do something radical. Stop narrating what happened. You do not need to have the right explanation yet. You do not need the lesson. You do not need the silver lining. What you need is containment. That looks like keeping the story tight, talking to fewer people, not more, letting your nervous system settle before making big decisions. Here's a grounding truth. You do not owe anyone your processed insight while you are still processing. If your body feels unsettled, your strategy will be too. So for the first 30 to 60 days, your focus is simple. Reestablish routine, get enough rest, stabilize finances, reduce exposure to shame-triggering conversations. This is not avoidance. This is recovery. Let's talk about the traps. The first is panic productivity. This is the urge to prove to yourself or others that you're still valuable. You start saying yes to things you wouldn't normally accept. You consider roles that are smaller than your capacity. You shrink your standards because safety feels more urgent than alignment. Here's the hard truth. Taking anything just to feel chosen again often leads to the same ending, just faster. The second trap is over-loyalty, defending the company, softening the truth, protecting leaders who did not protect you. Professionalism does not require self-erasure. You can be neutral without being loyal to what harmed you. And the third trap is identity collapse, When your job was also your proof, its loss can feel like a verdict. It's not. It's an ending, not a definition. Now, let's talk about language. Yeah, because this matters. You don't need to over-explain what happened. You don't need to confess. You don't need to perform humility. You need clear, contained, forward-facing language. Here are some examples that might be helpful if you were laid off or RF'd. My role ended during a restructuring. I'm now focused on opportunities that better align with my strengths. If you were terminated with cause, the role and I ultimately weren't aligned and the company chose to move in a different direction. You could also just say we parted ways. Then add, I've taken time to reflect and I'm clear on what I'm looking for next. If you were quietly pushed out, the organization changed the scope of the role and it became the right moment to step into something new. And if someone presses for details, I'm happy to talk about what I learned. The specifics of the exit aren't the most relevant part. That's it. No defensiveness, no oversharing, no self-indictment. Your exit does not need to become your confession. If you remember nothing else from this message, please remember this. They were over you, and that's okay. That does not mean you are over and you don't belong somewhere else. Also, you are allowed to grieve this. You are allowed to be angry. You are allowed to pause before you pivot. And you are allowed to build what comes next with intention, not fear. This was not the end of your relevance. It was the end of a chapter that could no longer hold you. And you get to decide what comes next. Not from panic, not from shame, but from clarity. You're still here. And that matters more than any company ever did.